By this assurance, the earth started to prepare herself for the advent of the Lord. The stage was being set for the mighty drama. All the lesser gods and celestial beings took birth in the Yadava clan in order to be ready to welcome the Lord and to participate in his Leela or playful exploits. For what reason would that unmanifest being want to manifest himself except to delight in his own playful exploits? The celestials knew that this was to be the supreme culmination of all his incarnations, Purnavata. No? A tremendous play of the divine, clothed in human form. Inexplicable and mysterious as nature herself, yet simple and easy to love as a flower, which can be approached even by a child, yet full of a deep and inner meaning to be interpreted by the scientist, the seer and the sage. So also the Lord's life, when looked at with the eyes of wisdom, will reveal to us not only the nature of the universe, but our own nature. For he is none other than the self within us. Kamsa had a sister called Devaki, who was as pure as he was depraved. Her beauty rivaled those of the celestials and could be dimmed only by the radiance of her mind, which was as perfect as any mortal woman could be. She was a fitting recipient for the signal honor of being the mother of God. In her previous birth, she had done many austerities in order to get the Lord as her son. This was her last birth, when for the third time she would carry the Lord in her womb. Vasudeva was also a noble soul belonging to the Yadava clan. When the curtain rose for the first act, the scene was one of revelry and joy. For Devaki, the only sister of Kamsa, was being given in marriage to Vasudeva. The bridal couple came out to the palace, preceded by Kamsa, followed by a throng of relatives and royal guests. The fanfare of bugles and sound of melodious song filled the air, which was drenched with the perfume arising from hundreds of incense burners and jasmine flowers scattered in profusion. Devaki herself was just 16 years of age, shining with happiness and beauty, laden with jewels, and her head bent with modesty, as well as the weight of flowers decorating it. She clung to her brother's arms as he lifted her into the flower-bedecked bridal chariot. Vasudeva jumped in beside her, prepared to start the journey to their palace. At this juncture, Kamsa ordered the charioteer to step down. He himself took the reins as if to show the extent of his love for his beloved sister. This act did not pass unremarked. That the king of the Bhojas should stoop to be a mere charioteer for the sake of his sister was news indeed. The populace cheered wildly, for though they hated him, they could not but appreciate this particular deed, for Devaki was a great favorite. Moreover, it was always expedient to cheer the king whenever possible, for who knew what type of flies were at work and whose head would roll on the morrow. Devaki, however, was supremely content. Her cup of happiness was full to the brim, and she cast a tremulous look of gratitude at this stern brother of hers, who had so far shown her nothing but kindness. It was her wedding day, and she was marrying the man of her choice. What more could she want? But her happiness was to be short-lived, as all human happiness is. The minds of the wicked are unpredictable. They know not the meaning of true love. They can love only as long as it benefits them. They are incapable of a love that transcends the self. This was soon to be proved. As the procession set out, the auspicious sounds of the conch and kettle drum were heard. The 4 mettlesome horses sprang forward and were whipped by Kamsa, so that they went forward at a spanking pace. But hardly had they gone a few yards, when the sky became overcast, thunder rumbled, lightning flashed, and a mighty voice split the clouds, froze the entire wedding party to immobility. O Kamsa, beware! The hour of your death draws nigh. The 8th son of Devaki will kill you and deliver this land from your wickedness. For one startled second, none spoke. Kamsa stared at the heavens, while from his nerveless fingers the reins fell unheeded, and there rose in his heart a fear so great that he trembled by the very force of the emotion. So awe-inspiring had the voice been. Devaki clung to her husband's arm and hid her face in terror. In a trice, the sky cleared, the sun appeared, the rumbling died away, and the excited people started to babble. But Kamsa wasted not a moment. Jumping out of the chariot, he caught hold of Devaki's jasmine-laden hair, pulled her down to the ground. Drawing his sword from his scabbard, he hoisted it aloft in order to bring it down her defenseless and jewel-laden neck. At that moment, Vasudeva sprang down between them, caught hold of Kamsa's hand and said, O Kamsa, where has your honor gone? Where has your code of Kshatriya chivalry fled, that you think of killing your own sister, and that too at the time of her wedding, before her desires have been fulfilled? O hero, you have enhanced the fame of the Bhojas by your heroic deeds, and do you now stoop to such a heinous act? Death is certain for everyone. It may come today or 100 years, hence, but it is certain. Therefore, a man who cares for his own welfare should never harm others. Those who do so will suffer both here and in the hereafter. This girl is your own sister, as helpless as a doll. It is most unbecoming of you to think of killing this innocent creature. Kamsa shook off his restraining hand, as if to say, woman or girl or sister, what do I care? From today, she is my enemy. For me, my own life is much more important than that of my sister. Again he lifted his arm. Again Vasudeva restrained him, tried another argument to stop from his evil resolve. Oh dear brother-in-law, why do you have to kill Devaki? What has she done? According to the ethereal voice, it is only her child, her 8th child, at that who is fated to kill you. Spare her therefore. I give you my word as a man of honor to bring to you every child of ours, be it a boy or a girl, for you to do with as you wish. This logic seemed to work. At last the threatening arm was lowered, and the cruel hold on Devaki's hair was loosened. Kamsa turned and looked fiercely at Vasudeva. This what you say is true. I know you for a man of honor, and I shall believe your word. Moreover, I have ways and means of seeing that you do not forget your promise. Go, take her with you. I can no longer bear to look at her face. A moment ago, there was none so dear to him as his sister, and now there was none so hated. Without a backward glance, Kamsa left the couple stranded on the streets, drove off, as the people, trembling with fear, made way for him. Outwardly they stilled their joy, but inwardly their hearts rejoiced when they thought of his approaching end, and they blessed Devaki with a child every year, so that the time would pass quickly, and the 8th child who would be their deliverer, would be born in 8 years. Sadly, Vasudeva escorted his bride to his own house, unaccompanied by musicians and dancing girls. An hour ago, they were the most envied couple in the whole kingdom. Now there was none who dared to look at them. The people's prayers came to pass within a year, and Devaki gave birth to a lovely baby boy. The umbilical cord had hardly been cut when Vasudeva hurried to Kamsa's palace, disregarding Devaki's pleas that she should be allowed to nurse the child at least once. For a man of wisdom, there is no object that he cannot give up, and no sorrow that he cannot bear. For a man of wisdom, there is no object that he cannot give up, and no sorrow that he cannot bear. Impressed by Vasudeva's adherence to truth and his extreme equanimity, Kamsa said, "Let this child be taken back. He poses no threat to me. It is only from your eighth child that I am destined to die. Take the infant back to my sister. Tell her that her brother is not as cruel as she thinks." Far from being happy at this flow of leniency, Vasudeva was perturbed at this unexpected turn of events. For he well knew how vacillating the minds of the wicked are. One day he would speak thus, next day he would change his mind, and by then they would have become attached to the infant. It would have been easier to have parted with it now, when it lay quiescent and unresisting in his arms, than later when it would start to smile and talk, and the wind its little arms round his wind its little arms around his neck and heart, and thus make the parting more heartrending. So Vasudeva left the palace with bent head, clutching the child and trying not to look at it, trying not to love it too much, for as a wise man he knew it was better not to become too much attached to something from which he would soon have to be parted. So Vasudeva left the palace with a bent hand, clutching the child, trying not to look at it, trying not to love it too much, for as wise man he knew it was better not to become too attached to something from which he would soon have to be parted. The 6 years flew. The 6 years flew by on wings, and every year saw the birth of another baby boy to the couple. Vasudeva would faithfully take each child to Kamsa, who would return it as a gift. By all rights, the couple should have been blissfully happy. They had each other. They had 6 lovely boys, each more beautiful than the last, and they kept to themselves without mixing in court life and intro. They said their prayers and purified themselves. They said their prayers and purified themselves by vows and fasts in order to prepare themselves for the advent of their 8th child, who would be the Lord himself. But all the time they felt as if they were balanced on the edge of a precipice. No one could tell when the delicate balance would be upset and they would be plunged into the swirling waters below. It was at this time, the drama, that the celestial sage Narada went to the court of Kamsa in order to play his small part in hastening the advent. If Kamsa started showing signs of leniency, the Lord would take longer to incarnate himself, for it is only when wickedness reaches its zenith that an incarnation is called for. So armed with his veena, he entered the audience chamber of the king. Kamsa hardly glanced at him, for he did not consider a mendicant like him who went about singing the Lord's praises to be worthy of respect. Narada, however, was unperturbed. Strumming his veena, he said softly, "I hear, O king, that you are not keeping too well these days. Not at the peak of your powers of observation as you were before." "What?" Kamsa said, rising up in anger. "What makes you say such arrant nonsense? I never felt better in my life." Now that the king has got up, Narada quietly took his seat, uninvited, and continued amicably. "I hear that you had your sworn enemy within your grasp, and yet you let him slip away like a willy fish from the hook of an inexpert angler. You heard wrong, shouted the enraged king. There is no enemy, either big or small, who has ever come within my grasp, who has lived to tell the tale. But what can you, a mere singer of ballads, know of deeds of valor? Narada laughed. I think your memory is getting poor, O Kamsa. Have you forgotten the prophecy at the time of Devaki's marriage, that you have allowed 6 of your children to slip from your grasp? Is this the action of a shrewd man? Why not? Shouted the king. Since you seem to know so much about it, you should also know that it was the 8th child who was denounced in the prophecy and not the 1st or 6th or any other. Poor Kamsa, Narada, in gentle voice, there is so much you are ignorant of. Don't make the mistake of underestimating your enemy. He is Vishnu, the master magician who can delude the entire world into believing anything. He can make 8 into 1, 1 into 8. If you count from the top downward, the last is the 8. And if you count from the bottom towards, what happens? The first becomes the 8. And if you keep them in a circle and count, what happens? The first becomes the 8. And if you keep them, any one of them could be the 8. You are living in a fool's paradise, my poor man, lulled into a feeling of false security, which is exactly what he wants you to feel. Moreover, you should realize that this is all a master plot on the part of Devas to kill the Asuras. O Kamsa, are the great Asura of old called Kalanemi? The rest of your clan, with a few exceptions, are all Devas involved in the mighty plot to annihilate you together with your kind. Of this you are ignorant, poor Kamsa, and that is why at long last, even though I know you despise me, I came to warn you, for I am a true well-wisher of the world. I am a true well-wisher of the world. I want nothing but the well-being of the universe. So saying, Narada quietly left, strumming his veena, just as he had come, unannounced, unescorted. He left behind a stunned Kamsa, aghast at his stupidity in having left 6 children go free. There was not a moment to be lost. 6 years of folly had to be retrieved in a day. He summoned all his evil counselors like Keshi, Putana, others, started a regular campaign of suppression of the Yadava with the backing of his father-in-law, Jarasandha, the powerful king of Magda. A campaign of terror followed, in which he mercilessly murdered all those whom he suspected as being Devas, so that there was a panic amongst all the good people, and a general exodus out of the city into the outlying districts, where they went into hiding. Vasudeva sent his first wife Rohini to the house of Nanda, the cowherd chief of Gokula, who was a friend of his. Kamsa's father, Ugrasena, remonstrated with him and warned him of the consequences of his atrocious deeds. Kamsa spoke not a word, but quietly had his father removed, clapped into jail. Then he turned the full force of his fury on his sister and husband. One by one their children were taken up and smashed to death on a rock in front of their horrified eyes. What is it that the wicked will not resort to in order to save their own skins? Vasudeva's worst fears were realized. Devaki saw but one child being killed, and then mercifully she swooned away. Dry-eyed, stony-hearted, Vasudeva watched till the bitter end, as one by one his bony babies were smashed to pulp. One thought alone sustained. Melle. The thought that he and his wife were still alive and capable of bearing children, and that whatever happened, however much they suffered, Theirs would be the fortune to be the instruments by which the divine purpose would be fulfilled. Only 2 more years, he exulted, and then the prophecy would come true. Their work on earth would be done, and the reason for their birth accomplished. So great was his faith and devotion that not even the ghastly scene enacted before his eyes had the power to move him. But even this hope was soon to be dashed, for Kamsa decided that the best place for this traitorous couple would be the dungeon next to his father, where he would be able to keep an eye on their doing. So he clapped them in jail with guards on duty night and day. Soon Devaki conceived for the 7th time. The land was groaning under the weight of Kamsa's iniquities, and the prayers of the people were rising in constant stream. So it is said that the Lord Vishnu decided that he could not wait for another year before incarnating himself. Such is the force of mass prayer, as Narada had foreseen. The Lord commanded his Yogamaya or Shakti as follows: O Devi, do thou go to Vraja, to the house of Nanda, where Rohini, the wife of Vasudeva, had taken refuge. My spiritual power, known as Shesha, has already entered the womb of Devaki. Transplant the fetus from the womb of earth into Rohini's. Soon after I shall incarnate myself in Devaki's womb. O you Devi will be born as Yashoda's daughter, and will be the bestower of boons to all, and will come to be worshipped on earth under many names. Being thus ordered by the Lord, the goddess transferred herself to the earth and accomplished all she was expected to do, and the news was bruited abroad that Devaki's 7th pregnancy has been aborted. Hearing the news, Kamsa suspected another trick, went himself to the dungeon in order to find out the truth. Is it true that you conceived for the 7th time? He thundered. Yes, replied Devaki meekly. Then what happened to the child? He inquired. I don't know. She whispered, and in truth she did not, for who can know the ways of God? She had been pregnant till a few days ago, then suddenly she felt her womb to be empty. Kamsa ruminated for a while. Trick or no, the next one would surely be the 8th, and since prevention was better than cure, he decided to prevent the couple from conceiving at all, and gave instructions for heavy chains to be brought, with which he bound them with his own hands. Vasudeva to one pillar, Devaki to the opposite, thus ensuring that there was no possibility of any physical contact with each other. Strict orders were given that they were not to be let out together. Satisfied with his handiwork, he left, banging the dungeon doors together, shutting out the last rays of their hope. Oh God, what about your promise? Groaned Vasudeva. Are you going to desert us now in the hour of darkness? We have none but you to aid us. So saying, he bowed his head and was plunged in grief. At that moment, the Supreme Lord, the protector of the universe, entered into the mind of Vasudeva, so that he began to shine in splendor like the sun. Such bliss transformed his face and aspect that his poor wife felt bound to exclaim, "O husband," she cried, "what is the secret thought that is drenching you with happiness? What have we unfortunate creatures to be happy about? O unlucky parents, we have been forced to see our children murdered before our very eyes. Our only hope was to witness the birth of our 8th infant, and now even that hope has been dashed or ground. What have we to rejoice about?" Vasudeva exclaimed in rapture, "There is a form which is shining within my heart, O beloved, which thrills me to the very core of my being, so that I can no longer feel the hardness of the pillar on which I am bound, nor the weight of the chains which are biting into my flesh. O husband," she cried, "pray describe this vision in detail to me, so that I too can share your picture." So Vasudeva transmitted to his wife, through the medium of the mind, that world-redeeming aspect of the Supreme Divine, who is the all-comprehensive being present in all, including herself, and she received the mental transmission, even as the eastern horizon receives the glory of the full moon. Thus did she conceive the Lord mentally through her husband Vasudeva. When the jailer opened the dungeon door the next day, he saw the place bathed in a divine radiance and Devaki transformed and shining as if within her she carried a living fire, a fire which would consume all the evil in the world and leave it pure and shining. Hurriedly closing the doors, he ran as fast as he could to the king to give the news that something strange and wondrous had happened to Devaki. Kamsa went post-haste to investigate for himself. It was just as the jailer had described. When he opened the doors, his eyes were dazzled by such a blinding flash of burning blue brilliance that he staggered back, unable to bear it. He thought to himself, surely the Lord Hari, who is to be the cause of my death, must be within her. Never before have I seen her with such divine lustre. What shall I do now? If I kill her outright, I shall surely be condemned by all. So I shall wait for the child to be born, then kill him. He gave orders that the guards were to be doubled, changed, strengthened, and every precaution taken so that none entered or left the dungeon. All his instructions were carried out faithfully, but neither Devaki or Vasudeva cared or even noticed what was happening around them. They were bathed in the sea of bliss as the child was within her womb grew bigger and bigger. Devaki's joy knew no bounds. She did not feel the discomforts of her position, nor was she worried as to the ways and means of protecting child when it was born and caring for it till it grew old enough to kill her brother. Such mundane considerations worried her not, for she had only time to meditate continuously on that wondrous form which filled her being, suffused her with delight. Kamsa too was in a similar state. His mind sharpened in single-pointed concentration on Lord Vishnu. Through intense fear, his entire world was filled with Vishnu, even though it was of Vishnu as avenger and killer. Walking, sleeping, eating, talking, he quaked in fear, constantly wondered how his killer would appear. He had heard of his previous incarnation when he had jumped out of a pillar as Narasimha in order to kill the Asura Hiranyakashipu. Thinking thus, he would suddenly jump out of the throne on which he had been sitting and inspect it to find out if Vishnu was hidden within. He would inspect his bed and mattress very carefully before sleeping, scrutinize every ball of rice to see if Vishnu was lurking within. Thus waking and sleeping, Kamsa's world was peopled by Vishnu alone. This was truly an enviable state, one which meditating yogis strive in vain to achieve. Virodha Bhakti. Thus did Kamsa pass the 10 months preceding the advent of the Lord as Devaki's son. Thus ends the first chapter of Sri Krishnaleela. Quotation from Purusha Suktam. We pray to and worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu for the welfare of all. May all miseries and shortcomings leave us forever, so that we may always be able to sing His glories. May medicinal herbs grow in potency, so that diseases may be cured effectively. May the gods rain peace on us. May both bipeds and quadrupeds be happy. Peace, peace, and peace. Thus ends the first and the birth of the unborn. We will take it up tomorrow. Let us all prepare our mind to receive the birth of the unborn. One more. We will end it with one more. You follow. Let us hear your music. No. I have to read. Sorry. 1 minute. Mere throat Giridhar Gopal. There is none other than Giridhar Gopal for me. The one who wears the peacock feather on his turban is my husband. The one adorned with the conch, disc, maize, lotus, and tulsi mala around his neck. All other relationships like father, mother, brother, friends, none have I. None of them are truly ours. Therefore, none of them are as important to me. In company of saints, I have lost the fear of infamy. I have given up worries about the reputation of the family. What can anyone do about it? The company of devotees appeals, while the company of the world brings tears to my eyes. With tears, I have sown and tended the sapling of love. Mera, thy slave, is enthralled in thy remembrance, O beloved, that whatever is to happen, happen. There is none other than Giridhar Gopal for me.